Following what Kimberly has said, I want to focus a little bit on lessons learned because we've had a great opportunity both to do some pilot work with our tool, and also we have a number of institutions that are beginning to use it. So we have almost 40 institutions that are someplace or other in the use of the overall tool. We did 5 as a pilot. We're doing 15 now that have gone through the self-assessment and are in the middle of developing action plans. And by early summer, we'll all have action plans based on this work. And we have another 20 institutions that are just starting the self-assessment. So we've naturally gotten a lot of feedback. And I just want to tell you a little bit about some of the feedback from the tool itself, and then we can think a little bit about what this means when it's at a college or departmental level. In terms of the team formation, campuses simply do it different ways. Some decide to have a large team that involves kind of all the people they think, or all the areas of the university they think might be involved. Others decide to have a smaller team, but then set up focus groups or sub-teams that they engage with and encourage those teams to explore and then come back to the core team. I think another thing we've found is it's important to stay what I call close to the provost office. Doesn't necessarily mean the provost has to be involved every day, but someone from their office really should be on the team, in the sense that you need to be able to get to the provost for feedback and advice, and particularly when you get into making hard decisions or getting into financial issues, probably that would be very important. We also think that faculty senate leadership is important to be here. Now, right off the bat, it may not seem, but when you get around to, say, your action plan, and if you decide maybe we should look at promotion and tenure, and maybe we want to modify some things about promotion and tenure, well, you'll never be able to do that unless you have the faculty senate involved in that. So to get them involved in the project earlier could be very helpful. And then another thing I think we've learned is that when you move from the self-assessment stage to the action planning stage, you may want to rethink what your guiding team should be, and you may want to make some changes. On the data template, if it's addressed by faculty kind of in general, there are all sorts of problems with it, and it's almost like you can't do it. On the other hand, we found if the team sends it over to your institutional research office, they come back and say, I think in one case, one campus said, oh, it only took us 2 weeks to put all that together. We know the data is all over the place in the university, but we know how to get it and put it together. So I wouldn't spend too much time worrying about the data format. I would just ask the institutional people, either in your college or in your university, to take a look at it, do the best they can. And almost every campus will find some data they don't have, and that's okay. And then one of the questions they have, is it something we want to have? And for all this data that's spread all over the place, do we want to have it in one place, or do we, going forward? And a lot of campuses decided it would be very helpful. I think the other thing we found was that some very seasoned long-term associate deans that have been involved in faculty affairs for a long time said, you know, I thought I knew everything about my faculty, but when we put all this data together, we were surprised. So in other words, we find out things, and I think in their case, they found out that their circumstance or situation was not as good as they thought it was once they really looked at, collected, and analyzed the data. So I think there's a lot to do with this data, and we need to make sure we kind of lay it out. Also, something that comes up is an interest in benchmarking, because when a campus sees its data, it of course can look at over a time series, but very quickly the question comes up, I wonder how other campuses look, and is there some way we might benchmark? That's something that certainly can be explored. In terms of the sort of the general assessment we've gotten back from the model at the stage it's at now and is being used, is it appears to cover all the factors relevant to improving faculty diversity. And we've had a lot of people look at it and they say, we really can't think of much else. And sometimes they'll come up with things, but we see that those items are embedded in one of the categories already there. I think the second thing is that the data has not proved to be that difficult, and it's proved to be very beneficial to many campuses. And I think the other thing we've found is, while it takes some doing to go through the self-assessment, once that information is taken to the action plan, it's pretty challenging. It's not the easiest thing to do because it's a whole campus. It's involved a lot of people that you have to get organized as you move toward action plans. So that's kind of thinking about the big institutional use of the model. What I'd like to do next is just think a little bit about, as we move to using the model either at the college or perhaps at a departmental level, or both, depending on how you want to do it. So I would say that the systematic nature of the model remains. In other words, if you look across all the components of the model, campuses sometimes are good at hiring but not good at retaining. Colleges can be good at hiring but maybe not good at retaining. So it doesn't matter what level you're operating at. It's quite possible that the systematic nature will bring some things to the fore that you didn't realize were part of your problem. I think the second thing is some of the institutional components may need to be involved. And it depends on, where your campus is and what you find out from the self-assessment and what kind of action plan you decide to develop. Probably institutional research. If you're a college that has your own institutional research unit, then you pretty much will be taken care of. But your institutional research group may need to get some data from the campus institutional research group. The provost office needs to be involved because, first of all, they need to know what you're doing, and you need to be able to call on the provost or a senior member of the provost staff from time to time as issues come up. Promotion and tenure. It could turn out that you think you need to do some things with promotion and tenure. Part of that can be at the departmental or college level, but part of it may require attention at the university level. And I think when you move it to the college level, you still have the issue of departments. And some of your departments may be doing well, and some may be doing poorly. And some may be doing well in some portion, but not other portions. So you still have to find that out. And in doing both the self-assessment and the action planning, there may need to be variation to reflect what's going on at that level. And so, again, I think you're highly likely to implicate things outside of the college. So you need to be alert to those. And so that has something to do with the team you develop for self-assessment. Do you want to have someone from the provost office on your college team? Well, some colleges may say, we want to do this on our own and we want to let it be an internal college kind of thing. But at some point or other, there's probably going to be implications for the provost office, in particular if there are a fair amount of resources. I mean, I know colleges of engineering have good resources typically, and so maybe you can do most of it there, but you may want to allow the possibility that you give the provost a chance to share in funding what you think needs to be funded to move your diversity forward. And a lot of the processes that relate to faculty satisfaction, professional development, getting ready for promotion and tenure and things like that, at many institutions, some of that takes place outside the college. Faculty orientation may take place outside the college. Coach studies to see how satisfied the faculty are, maybe university-wide kinds of things. I suppose a college could do a coach study to see what faculty satisfaction was like, but typically that's more a campus. So all I want to say is, I think it's perfectly plausible for a college to do this. I just think you need to be attentive to what are the ramifications both up and down. What does the variation in departments mean for how we do this? And what are the various parts of the university that could be implicated in your action plan? When do they need to be brought in, or how do they need to be a part of this? And I think when you get to retention strategies, I think again, some retention strategies may require a broader take than just at the college level. And I mean something like this. If there's really an issue of campus climate, it's not clear that a single college developing a good college climate is all that's needed to make your faculty feel satisfied and happy to be at the institution. If the overall institution is not a welcoming place for minority faculty, the fact that the college can go a long way, I think, for faculty in the college, but it may not go all the way for some faculty. So you need to kind of think about, again, what is the implication out there. Just as I said earlier, the promotion and tenure process, part of it is under the control of the college, but part of it is under the control in a more university-wide arrangement. So I think that gives you some idea of how there needs to be attention to where you may want to involve more than the college or the department. And the final thing I would say is Gretel Leibniz, who's running this project, has had a lot of experience really working both ways. She's been involved in departmental initiatives to try to bring about more diversity in departments, and obviously she's involved in college level initiatives, and she's part of the Aspire that really is the institutional level. So I kind of call attention to her experience as a way of raising the issue, which is the better way to start. It may be there's not a better way to start. It may be that either way can be the starting point depending on where an institution is. But with all these projects going, I think we're going to find out whether or not it can work better from one way or the other, or what it takes. If you start at one point, how do you build in the institutional part? If you start at the institutional level, how do you build in the college departmental component? So I think there's some really interesting things going on, and I think we're going to find out a lot.
Thank you, Alan, for sharing your insights regarding using the EDGE College Self-Assessment tool. Should you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, Gretel Leibniz. I'm co-PI and project director of the ASWE Engineering Dean's Gender Equity Initiative, or visit our website, and the website address is right here. Thank you again. We look forward to hearing from you.